What is up, everybody? Welcome to Picksburgh. My name is Anthony. With me tonight, I got my friend Michael, aka Huddle Card Collection. If you guys are not following Michael over on YouTube, I will have a link to his description down below. But Michael, if you're able to, make sure you drop your link in the chat for anybody watching to go and follow you. Because as you guys may know, this is episode number 1 of a weekly show. So Michael and I are going to swap back and forth each show. So this show, it's on my channel. Next week, it's going to be on Michael's channel. So you have to go and follow Huddle Card Collection in order to see every single episode of this show. So make sure you go and follow my guy over there at Huddle Card Collection. Put out great content, card videos almost every day. Very, very consistent. Really good guy. Him and his son put out content together. His son's a great guy too. A lot of professional grading experience, just a great head on his shoulders. I'm sure at some point we'll probably have Mike on the show with us as well. But
I'm sure he will come out of his room to go ahead or he actually doesn't come to his room. He can just go ahead and log in from his PC there.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the people that might be new to your channel, Michael, why don't you give them a little rundown of just like who you are, what you do, and anything you feel pertinent that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so as Anthony said, Michael, part of Huddle Card Collection, a channel started a couple years ago. We rip product, show product. We run breaks also. We run breaks on eBay. We've tried YouTube, but we've had more success on eBay. So eventually, if you go over to my channel and you look at one of the videos, you will see a link in any of the videos to the eBay store. Getting ready to do a couple of football and a basketball break. Going to get those up there. I'm not ripping, tons of hobby boxes and immaculate and all the other kind of stuff, So it's megas, blasters, hobby boxes, and starting off from that standpoint. So from a hobby standpoint and from a reselling standpoint, so from a hobby standpoint, I actually started collecting, Anthony, back in 1976.
That's awesome.
So I started collecting back there. I was heavy, in the junk wax era, man, up until that in the mid 90s, or early 90s and stuff. Then I kind of got out of it for a while. Jumped back in a little bit in the early 2000s. Stopped, and then my son, Mike, came along, and got him into it, and we started the YouTube channel and stuff, and so we've been doing that ever since. But we're just try and put out as many videos as we can. And like Anthony said, we just, it's more about just having fun and sharing the hobby with as many people as you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Was Mike really the driving force in getting you to do the card content, or was it something that you were kind of leaning towards anyway?
No, it was when he got into it, then I was like, hey, if this is pretty cool, what if we go ahead, and start making videos? Started seeing some of the stuff that you were doing, and checking out some other people and stuff like that, and was like, hey, this is pretty cool. Why not do it and everything,
Nice. Yeah, I always love to see you two go at it together, see who's going to get the better polls and like the banter that you guys have. Quick, what's up to a few people in the chat? We got a collector's dream in the house. We got my guy Mark Hipsley. Around Pittsburgh, this guy's known as Deals on Wheels. Like, he is like one of the big vendors around town, and he's actually putting on a really big show out in South Point, part of Pittsburgh, in March. And Chef Marte and I are going to get some tables at his show. So anybody that's going to be local to the Pittsburgh area come March, definitely stop out and check out Mark's show. Mark, if you want to, bud, feel free to put any information in the chat so that people are able to find information on your show.
I've heard you mention his name a couple. The deals on the deals. I never remember I don't remember you mentioning him by his actual real name.
Yep.
But by the deals wheel, the deals name, I've heard you mention that before.
He's famous at like basically all of the local card shops around here. Like everybody knows, hey, Deals on Wheels. That's the guy you go to if you want some like good cards at a reasonable price. Definitely as far as Pittsburgh goes, he's famous. But yeah, his show should be really awesome. I'm excited about it. He's bringing in some really nice autograph signers. I don't know if I'm allowed to share publicly like who any of them are yet, but he's bringing in some nice people from different sports, local people that people should get pretty excited about. There's actually a guy coming in I know you're going to get pretty excited about as a JETS Jets fan. Yeah. Just say there might be a little crossover appeal between Jets and Pittsburgh with this gentleman. And I don't know, I can say his name yet, but definitely one of the better guys you guys have had of like the 2000s. But so he'll be there. I'm kind of excited I've never met this guy, so I'm excited to meet him for the first time.
That's awesome.
But I'm happy to be getting a vendor table there. Yep. So he named a few of the guys. Brian Trottier is going to be there.
New York Islanders, Stanley Cup to the Islanders.
Yep. Yep. There's gonna be some heavy hitters. Mm-hmm. That's a good question. The breaks. At the moment, I am based in Pittsburgh. I will be going back and forth from Cali here and there, but I'm back in Pittsburgh full time now. But I should probably do a little bit more traveling in 2023 than I did in 2022. So even though I'm based in Pittsburgh, I'll probably still only be here like half the time just because there's a lot of stuff, like a lot of irons in the fire for 2023 thus far. So I'll be doing a lot of travel. Looking forward to it, though.
If you're going to be coming down here, so I'm based out of the Atlanta area. You're going to be coming down here, maybe that week. We just do the show live from HCC headquarters.
That would be awesome. Absolutely. That'd be really cool. Yeah. So essentially what he's talking about, guys, is next month at the end of January, I'm going to be going down to Atlanta. There's a big Prism God Culture Collision show happening down there. And Michael and Mike are that's their backyard. So we're going to be meeting up with them down there. And it's going to be a good time. So if anybody's going to be down in that area, make sure you check out that show as well. From what I understand, it's like one of the bigger shows like across the country. I've seen some coverage on like Card Collector 2 and Sports Card Investor as far as that show goes before, but this would be my first time actually going to it. So I'm kind of excited. My guy, Dave Miller's in the house. Good to see you, brother. Hey, always a pleasure to see you. Again, guys, just a gentle reminder, next week, this show will be on Michael's channel over at Huddle Card Collection. So make sure you guys are following him if you have not already. I will put him in the link. I will put a link for him in the description below after this. So that way, if you're watching on replay, you can go find him. But it's just Huddle Card Collection, both on IG, like you're seeing scroll below me, and on YouTube. So it should be a little easier to find him that way.
Yep.
Cool. So one other thing I guess I should mention before we get too deep into the show, we're going to be doing a 3-way giveaway between my channel, Huddle Card Collection, and a Facebook group called Earth Ballers. So the three of us are going to be giving away 3 TGT slabs. I'm actually going to be shipping them for free to you guys basically anywhere in the world. They're all NBA cards for this giveaway. So stay tuned. Some stuff's going to be shared on my channel. Probably we'll announce something on Michael's channel next week in regards to this as well. And then also in the Facebook group as well. So stay tuned for that because we're going to be doing some collaborative giveaways as far as that goes.
Thank you, This The Breaks.
Appreciate that, brother. Yeah, it has been a while, man. I haven't really been going live a whole lot lately, just with like the move back to Pittsburgh and everything like that. Slab Company is doing well. It's still off and going. They're still working with number 2, but myself and Chef are no longer a part of the company. Just some creative differences there. nothing against them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't like said anything negative or derogatory about the company. It's just one of those things, like when you are the creator of something and you're used to steering a ship your way, when other people stare it some way that you don't think is the way it should go, it's just like creative differences. You know what I mean? Like, wish them the best, hope they do well. But it's one of those things where, you know, I think my path leads this way, not so much that way. So it was just one of those things. It was like a mutual parting of ways. Like I said, I wish them the best. I still have some cards on their platform, but yeah, as far as my future, it's definitely in a different direction, you know, than that. But again, I've been loving since I've been back in California. Haven't seen like my family or a lot of my friends for a really long time. So it's been wonderful these past couple of weeks. I've been in Pennsylvania again.
Back to winter, huh? Back to real winter, I should
Oh my
say.
God, man. It was like -4 the other day. It was insane. Like, absolutely insane.
Yeah, I know. It's we've been cold down here too, which is very, very, very rare. But we're still okay.
Sunny Dick Hughes, are you with your ex in Pitt? No, I'm not. Thankfully, I'm not. I'm actually pleased to announce, and I should actually brag, because right now, like, my new girlfriend is actually sleeving cards. And I didn't know that there was such a thing as a woman that would actually sleeve cards. But I'm pretty sure that like prayer works, because she's literally sleeving cards for me right now as I'm on a live stream talking about cards. So no, I'm not back with my ex. From what I understand, she is remarried, or something along those lines. I haven't really been in contact with her a whole lot, to be honest with you.
So basically, your girlfriend is the Nikki Rips of backyard breaks.
I guess. I mean, she's cool, man. Like, she literally went through, and as we were going through, like, we were preparing some boxes because I'm going to meet her family next week, and we're gonna be going to Burbank. Like, literally, one of the things she planned for me to do while we're in LA meeting her family for the first time was to go by Burbank. So that's like why we're sleeving all these cards, because I'm going to take a bunch of these boxes of like, you know, random rookies, inserts, parallels, like all that stuff. Burbank's really cool as far as like trading, you know, store credit for just a bunch of stuff to fill their boxes and, you know, stuff in their store. So essentially what I do is I'll go through like all of my stuff, like, you know, every couple months, and I'll just go to Burbank and I'll trade it in for like whatever LeBrons I can get. So we've been prepping heavy on some Burbank boxes. Chef gave me like literally 3 giant IKEA bags full of what he calls his T-lap, aka like he opens a box of cards, takes like 2 or 3 of the best cards, and then he just gives me the rest most of the time. So he got to the point where he had ripped so much cards recently that his wife was like, you need to get this crap out of here. So he called the fish in there, and, you know, when the fish is around, he's always eating, and ended up getting a whole bunch of new cards.
So they take basically everything?
Yeah, for the most part. Essentially what they'll do is, so I prep like 2 rows like this. And you probably can't see because of the green screen or whatnot, but we'll sleeve them all up. And all Burbank really does is they'll go through and they'll grab stacks and they'll just kind of like skim through it to see the type of stuff you're giving them. And then they'll kind of just do that through like all of the boxes you give them. So they don't necessarily sit there and check like card for card what you're giving them, unless it's like big dollar stuff you're trying to move. Like if you're trying to move like slabs or, you know, like anything that's like super valuable, like these cards are all worth like anywhere from like $3 and under for the most part. So essentially they're just giving me like a bulk price, you know, like most of the time I might walk away with like $50 for a box, but it's like a box full of stuff that I'm not going to do anything with. You know what I mean? It's like all of the rookies that aren't like Cade Cunningham or Anthony Edwards or like LaMelo Ball or like the top few people, but there's still guys out there like myself who will buy up all the Isaac Okoro cards. You know what I mean? Like there's still stuff like that in there. of, that player for whatever, team X, Y, or Z is.
So they're all rookies and inserts and stuff. Not like, they don't take commons.
Yeah, so they won't take any base like commons and stuff. So it's all like inserts, rookies, or like parallels. Sometimes numbered jersey stuff like of like lesser players that like I don't really care about. Oh, that's awesome, Dave. Dave says that he loves you, Irene. Dave, remember you met him at church?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he is awesome. He's my guy.
Collector's dream. I just send those to Com-C. Yeah, I'm.
Everybody, give my guy this to break some love. Give him some sub love. Appreciate you. This to breaks. So let's say it takes a good girl to understand your card business, and most chicks nowadays would think you're crazy. You're telling me, man. Like, like my ex thought I was crazy. You know what I mean? Like a lot of, I kind of am crazy if I'm being honest with you. Like a lot of what I do is very unconventional. But like here's the thing, like that a lot of people don't understand is like I turned down a job that was paying like $18 to $25 an hour. Like I turned down a couple different positions moving back here. And a lot of people are like, how can you turn down like guaranteed X amount per hour or whatever? On eBay, it's like with cards, like if you know what you're doing and you know the cards people want to buy, you could very easily make more than that. Literally having fun sorting through cards and listing them on eBay. You know what I mean? So it's just like one of those things where it's like, if you know what you're doing and you have people that support you and like will help you along the way, like, and that's the thing, like, it's not like I'm doing anything special. It's just that like, I enjoy what I'm doing. I'm passionate about it. And I have people that support me. You know what I mean? Like the other day, Marty giving me 3 IKEA bags full of cards that he just wanted out of his house. You know what I mean? And then me and my girlfriend spending the last few nights going through an IKEA bag a night, like sorting like, okay, so we're going to put all the cards that we think Burbank would want in a box. And then we're going to take all the ones we think that no one would want. We're going to take that to Children's Hospital. Yep. You know what I mean? So like those are the type of things that we're trying to do and kind of just sort it down. And then obviously there's some players I want to cherry pick for eBay because they bring me a lot of sales momentum.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. You know, I mean, from that standpoint, like I was looking through, you know, and Marty, Marty rips a lot, you know, I rip a bunch and everything, you know, and you take, you know, some of the rookies out, you take, you know, I mean, it's really rookies, inserts, you know, and stuff that you collect, you know, like I have a medium flat rate box that I'm building up now from all sports. And, you know, I'm just going to try and find somebody who wants it. I mean, like, like maybe a teacher, you know, can use them as, you know, treasure box gifts for their kids if they have kids that are into cards and stuff. Or, you know, maybe I'll drive down to the Children's Hospital over here and say, hey, you know, here's a whole bunch of, you know, cards. This is something that, you know, you can give to the kids and everything. But, you know, it's like, and I don't care. I mean, like I have the flat rate box. I made a post in a little chat that I'm on Twitter and everything. And I was like, look, I mean, I'm like, you know, I'm not no money, no nothing. Just I need a name and an address because they're not doing me any good. So if they're going to bring joy to somebody else, why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dave, that would be awesome, man. I definitely would appreciate that. And Mark, I completely agree, man. Burbank is the best shop in the entire world, bar none. I mean, it's insane. You think you're going to walk in there and just like what you see from like social media and YouTube and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Like you don't expect them people to be so nice and down to earth, but literally like the card father and his dad and his son and the staff there are like literally the nicest people in the world. Like I've walked into some like shops here in Pittsburgh that are just like overly rude about like the smallest things, you know what I mean? And that's a minority of like the shops I've been to, but like you figure like a shop that's just so like overly like blown up as far as like the mecca of the hobby, you know, and then you just go there and it's like the people are even nicer than you would expect. That's like literally one of my favorite parts about the shop. Nice.
Yeah,
Start.
yeah.
Comp C is something that I've been wanting to try for a while. Hey, thanks, Mark. Mark says, "Welcome to Pittsburgh."
Have you heard?
A little crazy to collect cards, I guess.
You know, obviously, well, we have all this stuff and everything. You know, can't wait to learn from you about it. See, yeah, well, you know, eBay is fun. eBay can be easy. eBay can be a little bit frustrating. You know, but you know that because and it's not real. You know, a lot of people go, "Oh, I can't stand dealing with eBay and the fees and this, that, the other thing." You know what? And the truth of the matter is, you know, try and start your own website and drive the traffic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not going to drive as many people to your, you know, little Spotify shop as eBay is going to go there, because most people, if they want them, they type in ebay.com and hit enter. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you know, a lot of people don't, let me go search for a 1982, Carlton Fisk baseball card. They don't do that on Google. Most of them are going to go to, either a ComC or more than likely an eBay and type it in there and find it, So eBay, I mean, eBay or reselling is actually what brought Anthony and I together in the first place.
Absolutely.
It wasn't sports cards or trading cards or collectibles. It was actually, reselling T-shirts and plush and CDs and I don't know, anything else we could get at a good deal, sneakers or anything like that, and resell. That's how we initially, got to know each other and became friends. And then, it was funny. We kind of really both went to trading card stuff. It's, it wasn't planned or anything, but it kind of, worked out that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Dave. That's really cool. Actually, Irene was just telling me that was it your brother who had like a little league coach who used to give cards to all the kids? Or your nephews? Yeah, that's super cool. In fact, she actually just put together like little Christmas gifts based on like different cards that we were sorting through for like, Burbank box, donate box, like different stuff like that. We put together these cool little albums of like unique cards that she thought like each one would like. So,
very cool.
I just think it's cool. You know what I mean? Like taking something that basically is like somebody else's trash and then putting together like a little keepsake for somebody out of it.
Yep.
I remember when I was a kid, like I used to get like a little binder. Do you have that binder handy by chance? That you just showed off what it looks like?
In the bottom of my suitcase.
AJ, what's up, AJ? Unfortunately, that is not Anthony's house. One day that will be Anthony's house, but right now that's a green screen.
Yeah, that's a green screen, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not balling like that. But essentially, this is what the little binders look like. They're just like little card guard things. But I remember when I was in like grade school, I used to have a little thing like this with like all of my favorite Steelers in it. And it used to be like my favorite thing. I used to carry it around to school and show all of my friends. So
That's
I'm kind of
cool.
hoping that like this gift is going to be kind of like that for her nephews. Get them started off right with like something that they cherish. Mark says eBay and whatnot are a great way to cash in. I also like 1, 3, and 5 and $10 boxes it shows. And like I said, Mark is one of those guys who has been like around the block. Actually, I'm going to be looking to set up at several shows with him in the next year. And just learn as much as I can from him. Because like I said, he's one of those guys that's super well respected, knows his stuff, sets up, can run shows. AJ's in the house. What is up, man? Good to see you, brother. And I do wish that was my house, but no, I'm not balling like that just yet. With eBay, you must be willing to grind it out. Be smart about your listings. That's very true.
Yeah.
There's a couple different things I've actually been trying with eBay lately too that we can kind of dive a little bit into. Because I don't know if have you ever worked with like a VA or like virtual assistant like to help you with listings or anything like that before?
I have not. I have not done that part yet.
So that's something that I've started tinkering with in like the last month or so. And essentially what I'm doing is I have a guy who works for me as far as helping me with editing videos and stuff like that, but he also helps with eBay and stuff like that as far as like SEO optimization and basically listing like a bunch of like my cards and stuff like that. So eventually what I'm trying to do is get it to the point where and I basically what I've done is what's known as like a stress test where I put myself through like a rigorous thing where I'm going to just like list my nuts off until like I can't list anymore. And it's like literally like I'm listing as much as I humanly can. So I know how much like a human can list like within a certain amount of time. So like I stress tested myself for a while to kind of get a feel of, you know, what would be like the average like per hour listing if I did this or I did that or whatever. And, you know, I basically hit a certain plateau regardless of how hard I tried. I couldn't basically get over this hump of like X number of listings per day. But then I noticed every time I was hitting the top of that listing pyramid, you know, like as far as like, you know, say if I'm hitting just for round numbers, 100 listings a day, I'm crushing it that day. Like I'm getting like $700 to $1,000, maybe more in sales that day because I'm throwing up so many friggin' listings. You know what I mean? But then there's some days where I don't list anything and maybe like I make $40 in that day. You know what I mean? It's like little trickle sales here and there. So one thing I'm noticing with eBay is it's a lot like YouTube in the sense that it does reward activity and such, but
most definitely.
It's real important to have those consistent listings going up. And the other thing is if I can consistently crush it, if I have consistent like high performance, then my thing is if I can double that, it's almost like when you put two oxes together, right? And you yoke them together. Theoretically, you would think you'd have the power of like two ox, but somehow when those two ox work together, it's like you have three of them. You know what I mean? It like multiplies like the effort, you know? So that's kind of what I've been testing lately. Now with me going away for a week, I've been ramping down a little bit, like how much I'm actively putting up there, just because I don't want to get hit with like a slew of stuff that needs shipped out. And then my metrics get like tanked while I'm gone. I'm probably going to change my turnaround time. Cause right now I'm at like 1 day because I'm top rated and I like to make sure that like I have really good metrics on eBay. But I'll probably change that to be like a 7-day turnaround just for the week I'm gone. Just so people know that, hey, this guy's away, but I'm still actively taking orders because there is a thing you can do known as like putting your store on vacation mode. And what that does is it basically tells people, hey, I'm not sending anything out. But basically, if you just change your turnaround time, you won't get a ding for you know, late shipping, and you can still continue to do business while you're gone. So it doesn't completely plateau. That's good to hear, Jason. I've tinkered with Center Stage a little bit. One thing I've always had a little bit of an issue with is like accuracy, like being like 100% spot on. But I guess any kind of like AI, you know, scan technology is not going to always be 100% accurate. But
well, that's just the app for the phone, right?
Yeah, it basically Center Stage is like the TCG player version for sports cards, where you can like scan it and it should give you like a comp and like what the card is.
Does that parlay to be able to put it on eBay from there, or are you still doing eBay separately?
As far as Center Stage goes,
yeah,
I think Center Stage is basically just like a program that kind of looks up like what the card is. Like I think it's like an identifier program, if I'm not mistaken, mainly. Like I don't think it actually does like the listing or like it's a platform or anything like that. Collector's Dream saying ComC cards are listed on eBay and their website. They list, vault, and ship the cards, and that's really attractive to me. Not having to actually do all of the actual fulfillment, because again, with me planning to do a lot of traveling in 2023, it's going to be really hard to fulfill stuff like on the weeks that I'm not in Pittsburgh. So that's one of like my bigger concerns right now, actually, is figuring out how to fulfill stuff when I'm not around. I have considered like, and I've done this in the past, where I just take a suitcase full of like cards, and then like essentially a laptop and my trusty little Rolo printer. Which nice thing is this can go anywhere. It's really easy to print a label.
Oh, yeah.
Ship on top of that. I've taken that to hotels with me before to make sure that I'm not late on shipping and stuff like that. But again, in this case, I think I might just move my handling time back a week and then just, risk it for the biscuit.
You can. I mean, I as long as that doesn't affect, because what you care about is the top rated, to be able to get that, those couple extra percentage points.
Yeah. Not only that, but I really feel like when you're top rated, like eBay pushes more people to you, because it's almost like they can guarantee you're going to take care of their customer. So why would you not want to like push somebody that is going to like take care of the person? But yeah, Mark says people need to learn how to schedule their listings. Sunday nights are king. That's a really good point, is making sure if you guys are doing auctions, when are you scheduling that auction to end? Because one of the reasons my collection's as good as it is because I buy stuff at like weird hours of the night.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, and if you will like look at auctions, you can oftentimes find cards at way under what they're going for. In fact, like that's part of the reason why a lot of like these like smaller cards, like for example, like look at Darius Garland. The guy's an all-star. He's a young stud, but his cards aren't like super valued. It's because a lot of times they're going for they're selling at auction. You know what I mean? I'm just using Garland as an example because he's somebody I buy a lot of cards of. So I keep an eye on his market. You know what I mean? The fact that you can go and buy a graded 9 card of him for like $10, sometimes less at auction, is kind of crazy to me. You can't even get it graded for $10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Most places, like legitimate places, you're paying a minimum of like $12 to grade, and that's like CSG bulk. You know what I mean? So the fact that you're able to now get certain cards of guys like on a Darius Garland level, you know what I mean? Insert, random player XYZ, like with baseball, that's a little more prevalent, right now. Being able to find guys that are reasonably cheap in like a PSA 9 for like sub $15. I'm not the biggest baseball buyer, but, if I see Brian Hayes sitting there, and I can get it for, $10, $12, $15 graded, I'm going to do that, because that's like literally what the grading fee is. And then I have a card guaranteed in a mint 9.
Yeah. And I think, part of it is that also baseball varies a lot. There are so many times where, a rookie, a Key Bryant. You think about Key Bryant, right? He was, a lot of people were jumping on him. A lot of people were, were going ahead and buying his stuff. And then he goes into a little bit of a slump, and you really don't have that. In my opinion, you really don't see that much in the star power or the upcomers. A lot of times in basketball, I mean, yes, it happens, right? You have your guys who sell, they pop, and then all of a sudden they come back a little bit. But a lot of times it's their rookie cards sometimes will still hold the value. It's a lot of times it's that base card, right? And the base card is the one that's always going to be the one that's going to have, in my opinion, the most fluctuation. But then again, you're right. Baseball prospects are super hot right now, but they're gambles. I was watching a video earlier today. There's a guy for, I believe it's the Brewers, Jackson, and I believe you say his last name like a Churio. And somebody pulled an autograph from him, and I don't know. I don't think it was a 1 of 1. It might have been like a out of 5 and everything. But they're saying that card's probably going to go for $8,000, $9,000.
That's wild.
Dude's in the minor leagues.
Yeah.
That dude next summer, slides into second base and breaks his leg. You don't want that to happen, but so buying and selling in baseball, unless it's a special card, if you can sell prospects early and feel comfortable with it, do it. Do it. Like, and I mean, like, so you're a Key Brian Hayes guy. So, hey, I'm going to keep my Key Brian Hayeses, but you may sell some of your lesser ones, but you're going to keep some of the better ones, right?
Yeah.
For me, if I pull player XYZ that plays, for, the Cleveland Indians that I don't care about, and all of a sudden someone says, man, hey, that's a $500 card. Really? Okay. I think it's time to go ahead and sell it. Now, true, maybe in 5 years, that's a $5,000 card, but maybe in 5 years, that's a 5-cent card in baseball. That's the problem. Baseball, you look, there are a lot of guys who are stars in the minor leagues, stars, flat out stars. They come up to major leagues, and sometimes you'd swear that they don't know how to play baseball. And you don't see that a lot in football. You don't see that a lot in overall. I mean, I'm saying yes, you have your guys who crap themselves, but overall, you don't really see that. The guys that are really good as they're coming up, they stay that way. For the most part.
Clifton, now it's good to see you, my friend. Really appreciate you being here. That's actually really good point here Mark's making about Acuna. His card prices were crazy high. Then he gets hurt and his card prices go down 60 to 70%. Now he's back. Yep. And if you bought when he was down, you're crushing it. And that's really what it's all about, is making sure you're getting in at the right time. Because, for example, like my collection of LeBron, I've made killing on hand over fist. From the time I bought most of the cards to now. But there's one specific LeBron card I bought that, like, I'm still way down on. For example, like I bought his Topps paper rookie card right at the very hype, like right as he was like about to win that bubble championship. And that was a hurt piece. What I mean?
But that card is gonna increase.
Oh yeah,
he's gonna pass Kareem, right? In other categories, in rebounds and assists, he's gonna keep moving up those ladders. If he can somehow figure out how to, put a bubble around Anthony Davis and keep him healthy, I don't know if he can win another title, but he could at least be in contention potentially to win one. And all that stuff is going to, help you out with those cards. I mean, what do they say to collect? The truth of the matter is GOAT's prices very rarely fall. Hold on. Let me back up a second. The problem we have is the pandemic. Right? That what we have is we have 2020, part of 2019, 2020, and part of 2021. That 18-month period made things look way out of whack from where they are. Because the truth of the matter is card prices, I mean, you look at Jason saying right there, right? Jason Dominguez, his cards prices, and here's a kid who I don't even think he was out of single A baseball. Yeah. Maybe he was in high A. I don't know if he was in double A. And people are paying $40,000-$50,000 for his, if more, now over $100,000 for his cards. It's crazy, man. Crazy. Yo, sorry, hold on. Yo, your buddy Dom.
What's up, Dom? Good to see you, brother.
There is a pillar of the card community right there, man. Yeah, what a great person.
I appreciate you being here, Dom.
But that, so that's, so it's weird when you're looking at things. Like if you look at the auctions, Golden Auctions, PWCC, when you look at some of those right now, the cards are going down, but they're going down based off of, when you think about it, is where we were when they were being bought a year and a half ago, where
Yep.
everything was nuts. To your point, like the LeBron that you bought a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
2 years ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I would say the biggest one, like, so one thing, like, I would say the worst card I ever bought as far as like value tanking on me was the Kevin Durant like rookie card, like the Topps paper rookie card of Kevin Durant. Like, I don't know if anybody else was hosed by that card, but like I was one of like the several people that, like, when Gary V posted that giant stack of them, that was like, oh snap, I better run out and grab me a KD.
yeah.
I ran out and got one, man. And I think I ended up reselling that KD for like $33. I was like, wow. I like literally got like a 10% return on my investment. It was so bad, dude. It was probably more than 10%, but like my math is awful, but it was like something like very low, like probably like sub 25%.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, it's the card market is, I don't know. Is this to me it's more just of a correction. I think it's being where they were. Look, the truth of the matter is, you hate to use the words pump and dump, but the truth of the matter is when you have these influencers who have it, when you have, I mean, I hate to say it, a Gary V who shows, like you said, a stack of KDs.
Yeah.
Oh, well, hell, hey, get him, bam, sell him. I
Yeah.
mean, he's an investor.
Well, again, to be clear, I'm not saying Gary V like pumped and dumped KD or any of that, but if he did, I fell for it. Is basically what I was getting at. Like,
well,
I saw,
no.
like, holy crap, this guy who knows a lot more about cards than I probably do is buying like stacks of Kevin Durant. Maybe he knows something I don't, but
I don't think he does. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think he did. Because I don't think he is like Jeff Wilson, graded card, sports card investor. I think that's a guy who, who now look, he does some things and he says some things too, but that's what it is, But I don't think Gary V is more of like a card collector too, like Ryan. Like I don't think Ryan, is one of those guys. I think Ryan is in more, yet Ryan, I think Ryan card collector too. I think he's different. I think Gary V looked at as an investment. I mean, because you think about it from this standpoint, and here's the only reason why I say it, Anthony. You never hear about him talking about it anymore.
True.
If you ever watch, I mean, I'll see his Instagram stuff. I'll see some of his YouTube stuff pop up. He doesn't talk about it anymore. You don't hear you don't, Vegas Dave. You hear anything about Vegas Dave really much anymore?
Outside of him being in that movie that just came out recently, he was one of the people that were featured in that sports card movie with Steve Aoki. But yeah, other than that, not really. Which is kind of interesting.
And don't get me wrong, it happens in everything, right? I mean, we that stuff happens in all aspects of it. But Mark makes a good point. It's funny. I sell on Amazon as well as I sell on eBay, and I was out a week ago, and then actually, yesterday, and I went to 30 different Walmart stores, looking for for a couple of products and everything. And even though I wasn't looking for sports cards, I went by, and I'm telling you, shelves were stacked.
Yeah.
Shelves were stacked. Like I was one of and the one thing, like Prism draft picks, Mosaic, all that draft pick stuff for basketball and for football, Select and Prism, I could understand that sitting on the shelves. But what surprised the heck out of me was how many stores I saw that had multiple, and I mean multiple boxes of Select basketball. This year's select basketball sitting on the shelf. Now at Walmart, they want 35, they want, I think, 35 or $40 a blaster. So I can understand people not buying it, but there was a lot there, man.
Dude, it's been that way here too in Pittsburgh. Like, it's crazy. Like, Select, Optic, Prism, like every set you want to buy is like readily available in like droves.
Yeah.
Okay. But this is the documentary that recently came out. It's called Behind the Card. I know Jeff Wilson was featured in it, the sports card investor. Steve Aoki was in it, Vegas Dave.
Was Comeback Investor in it?
He was, yes. Brad, the comeback card investor, was in it as well. I haven't seen it. I've only like seen like different reviews people did on YouTube of it. It's on Apple TV. I'm gonna be honest, I just didn't want to pay for something that most reviews said like wasn't like an accurate depiction of the market. It was more or less like, hey, cards are going to the moon because it was filmed during COVID. So it's not like an accurate depiction of like the market, and it's not really educational or anything like that to where like it's worth me spending the money on. You know what I mean? Like if it was something that I felt like was more like entertaining or like, more my cup of tea, I would probably pay for it. But I don't know. It looks cool, but most of like the like what's his name? Because I'm Carlos had a couple videos on his channel basically like ripping it to shreds. So like after hearing like the review, I was like, well, I'm probably not going to go and spend money on Apple TV now. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound like it's like that great of a movie, but again, like if it was free, I would watch it because it's about cards. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of similar style content of people documenting card shows and stuff like that for free on YouTube. So I just, wasn't into paying for it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, to me,
better. She has Apple TV, so I guess I'm going to get to watch this.
There you go.
Even better.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, it. I knew. I mean, I heard the reviews also about a couple of different things and everything. And to me, I'm the same way. I would just want to watch it just to actually see. But according, like you said, according to the reviews and stuff, it's not like this was a. I don't think they're going to be getting on stage watching any, getting any awards for this one.
Thanks, Dom. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I've been trying to get a lot of my bigger autos graded as of late.
Yeah, man, you got that one. You got that one. That one great one, the Hulk Hogan one. That was the SGC one.
Yeah, I was excited about that one.
Yep. Yeah, Mark, you're right. I mean, the government. Yeah, so people, people were supposed to go ahead and buy, groceries and stuff. And the sad part is, it's weird. They're still making money per se because they got the money for free, but they're taking it in the shorts because they bought cards that they probably shouldn't have bought at prices that they did not deserve to be at, and now they may be 50-60% less than that. From that standpoint. But I don't know. I just think the market itself to me is a little more normal now than when it was.
I'm actually reasonably glad that going through this whole pandemic phase that I was reasonably broke. Like I wasn't like dirt poor, but I was poor enough to where I wasn't able to lose any real money on cards. Yep. And I'm the type of guy that would like lose some real money on cards because I buy enough of them. You know what I mean? So like I'm at least thankful for that. You know what I mean? That like I wasn't like overextending myself, like going into like bill money or like anything like that, thinking, okay, like, and I did send like a huge order out to PSA whenever COVID hit and everything like that. And like the idea was, okay, I'm going to send these off to PSA And then several months later, I'm going to magically get these orders back, and it's going to literally support me for a couple years because of all of like these great profits coming back. But little did I know that in the time that the cards were at PSA, they would be worth less than the grading fee when I got them back. You know, not all of them, but like a good bit of them. You know what I mean? Like just as far as like the drastic shift in the market, you know what I mean? Like the base card basically dying, you know what I mean? Not saying that all I sent in was base cards, but I mean, there's a lot of base Zion Williamson or Ja Morant, you know, those type of cards that I sent in that, you know, were $100+ at the time, you know, decently priced cards now are very easily found on, you know, YouTube or not YouTube, eBay auctions for, you know, sub $30. It's insane, you know, in like graded PSA 9 condition.
Well, I think, you know, those two guys are weird when you know, the Ja and the Zion, because when you look at it, there's not, hey, Cajun Riso, what is going on,
see you,
buddy?
Man. Glad to hear Zion was on fire.
Oh, Annie. Oh,
hey, Annie. Appreciate you being here. And again, I'm real sorry to hear about your husband. I'm glad he did enjoy those Brady cards.
Yeah. It's going to be very, very, you know, interesting. You know, I think Zion probably is a guy that, you know, it should be looked at right now, because if he can stay healthy and you see what some of the things that he's doing, I mean, my goodness gracious, you know, I mean, you know, I think what killed everybody, or what killed a lot, is so many base cards were sent in by people because they had nothing better to do.
Yeah.
You know, ran out to the store. You know, how many times did, you know, I think Mark said it earlier in the chat, you know, people went to Walmart and they knew the schedule, they knew the rotation of the guy or girl, you know, filling up the shelves, you know, and they knew when they were going to be at their, you know, local Walmart, and they were there, and they knew after they went to that one, they went to the town next to them, then they went to this town next to them, you know what I'm saying? And they followed them along, and they cleared the shelves, and they, you know, had a rip party and opened everything up, and they took all their Zions, they took all their Jaws, and they put them in a box, and they sent them out to, you know, PSA right away.
Yep.
You know, that's good. Nice selling 2 Jaws tonight.
Jaws one of those guys that like I try to list all of my Jaws. Like, so to kind of drive traffic, there's certain players that like, regardless if it's like a crappy base card, I always list them. Like LeBron James. Like if I have a duplicate LeBron, I throw it up there because somebody's going to buy it. Same with Ja, Luka, Giannis. You know, when it comes to football, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. Don't care what card it is; those are going up. You know, baseball, Trout, Ohtani, Judge, like any of like the Juan Sotos, like those type of players. Even though they're not like, you know, per se rookies at this time, they still have people that collect them. You know, they have a big enough market of people that like actually care about like, oh, this is a Donruss paper, LeBron James, 16th year card. But I have all the other Donruss paper LeBrons. I want to collect this one too. You know what I mean? Like there's just people out there like myself that want to have a binder of like their favorite players, and they will go and collect like a bunch of cards like that. Especially I'm finding since grading a lot of these cards, you know, like the lower end papers of like, say, like a Ja Morant, like second year or third year card. You know what I mean? Most people aren't going to grade that. So you're going to find it a lot easier to find gradable copies of this stuff now in the wild and through eBay and stuff like that. Whereas a lot of times during COVID, like you'd be hard pressed to get some gradable stuff through the mail off of eBay. It's because so many people were grading in that time frame. And like now it seems like a lot of people are just sticking to their super elite stuff, which I don't blame them, because I've found that a lot of like the prospecting I used to do for grading, like essentially what I would do is, oh, look, I have an Alexei Pokashevsky. You know what I mean? I'm going to go ahead and grade all of these cards so I can sell them to, a Thunder fan or somebody who collects Poku or something like that. That's not as easy to do and actually make money on as it once was. Now, if you have a nice short print of Poku or an auto or, something that's more desirable other than just like a base card, or maybe just like this is like a silver, but it's still not super valuable. It's just like a little base hollow of Poku, you know what I mean? So like something like that, depending on how much you're paying to actually slap the card, might not be worth it, unless of course, like say you're a collector. Like me, I've probably lost more money slabbing Okoro cards or like Varejao cards than like anybody I know. But it's like I like those cards, so it's like I don't mind spending it because I personally want that card slabbed and like saved for my collection. But if you're looking to do it for like purposes of profit and like making money and stuff like that, you really do have to be a lot more selective these days.
So there are a few guys that I collect. I don't collect many. In my opinion, there's only really, two superstars, and one superstar in my opinion. The other one's a superstar in my opinion, but he's not really a superstar. I collect from an older perspective. I collect, Fred Lynn, and I collect Cal Ripken, and I picked this guy up recently.
Oh, that's nice. It's really nice.
And it's out of 15, and I'll spend a couple of extra dollars on that card, because that card's not going to really go anywhere. I don't really, there are not a lot of cards that I have purchased off of eBay or at card shows that I look at as investments. To me, I look at it more as, hey, it's more of a card that I, hopefully will enjoy for many years, and then, and then Mike can sell them if he wants to when I'm done with them.
Yeah, for sure.
From that standpoint, so I'm not, like what you were saying, like with the pandemic and so on and so forth and everything. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would look at, all those cards and everything like, oh my gosh, I can't believe someone's going to spend 300, 400, 500 on this card. If you're a fan, I get it. If you're a fan, I completely understand. To me, you pay what you want to pay for a card. It's not leaving your collection. And, as we continue with the show and everything, we'll get into all different things with slabbing and this and the other thing, right? And you slab with who you want to slab with. And if, for me, if it's a PC collection, it's one thing. But I can also say, I don't really know how many cards. I guarantee you, if I bought, I don't know, let's just make up a number of 200 cards on eBay, I bet you maybe 10 to 15 of them might be more of an investment type thing. The other ones are, for me.
Yeah.
From that standpoint. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that video, Dami. That's how bad it got. That's when Target had to stop selling. That's when Target kind of pulled all their cards out and started doing online, and then it got worse because then you had the bots and everything. That's a whole nother thing.
This is something I want to tinker with too, Jason, a little bit more. So right now, what I've been doing is I've been trying to stick more so to like the more collectible players, and I've been listing them individually with like multiple quantities. But I'm wondering if, like, say I have a bunch of just like low end, like Mike Trout cards. Would it be easier to list, like, say, hey, look, here's a listing of like 6 Mike Trout cards, all different, or maybe 6 of the same Mike Trout card? like maybe that's more attractive than just leaving that one Mike Trout card there to sell 6 times. Maybe that's an easier way of doing it, or, rather than charging, if it's $1 a card, and charging, up to $6 for all 6, maybe, hey, $5 for 6 or something like that. Just those little nuances to give people more options and stuff is kind of what I've been focusing a little bit on.
Well, I think you can, because I think I think that'll work either way. Either the same card and just, hey, I got 6 of them for $6. I mean, to me, if you were going to sell them all for $1, I'd sell them all for $1. I'd keep them. I'd look at them that way and do it for $1, because I think somebody, a different, somebody buying all the same card. Let's say you had 6 different Trout cards, and you thought you were going to sell them. If you were going to throw them up individually, you'd throw them up for $1. You're better off throwing them all. I would put all 6 of them together, still do 6, because if somebody wants them, they would rather do that than have to, let's say, buy them individually and worry about shipping and so on and so forth. I think, I get 6 Trout cards for $6. Oh, and it's $3.89 for shipping. Cool. For under $10, I get 6 Trouts. I'll take that. Thanks a lot. So I think, from that standpoint, I think, lots are good. I think the kind of stuff that sometimes doesn't go well if you try and do bigger lots of non-specific, things like, hey, here's a whole lot of rookies, baseball rookies, you know what I'm saying? I think those sometimes would not be, but I think if you're trying to group together, because then you're looking for that collector. You're looking for that guy you're looking for the guy who PCs those cards. So if it's Aaron Judge, if it's Trout, if it's, whoever, Fernando Tatis, if it is, and any baseball player. And it's the same thing as basketball. You take Anthony Davis, right? Anthony Davis might not have a lot of value individually right now, but you might be able to put 5 or 6 or 8 Anthony Davis cards together, and boom, somebody might be willing to go ahead and do that and buy that.
Here's a few little things I found that I'm going to probably do like lots of today, like as I was going through boxes. And actually, shout out to Mark. I'm pretty sure these were in the free box you gave me. Haven't actually had time to film the video yet. I don't know if I'm going to do a video or a live, but I made a purchase off of Mark for some inventory for eBay and for shows. And as I bought a box off of him, he gave me like 2 free boxes as well. And these 2 things came out of the free boxes, which probably not like super valuable, but like as I'm looking at it, the first thing I think of is like, okay, well, that's a listing on eBay. You know what I mean? This right here is an entire deck of hockey playing cards. You know what I mean? Which is like super cool. Like if you want the whole set, you can actually play, poker or whatever with it. But say that you're a fan of, let me just find one of the bigger names. Like say you're an Eric Lindros fan. Here's a card of him as like an actual king card, poker card.
That's cool.
That's just really cool. Like I have a playing card of LeBron that I just really like in my collection. And I saw that and I was like, man, somebody will give me like at least $5 for that, or, something, I would imagine $3 to $5 for an entire set of those playing cards. And then like, if this was like more desirable, you could piece it out, you know what I mean? But something like this, I'd probably just sell the whole set. And then I found another thing that was kind of an entire set from Stadium Club. It's Top Stadium Club from the 90s, and it's the Charter Collection. So Charter Member Collection. So basically it's all the different sports of Stadium Club, and then at the bottom of the thing it has like the little Charter Member thing on there. But the unique thing is it's like an entire set of the every single Charter member that was done that year. So because of that, it's like that's another listing. Somebody would want to get all. You got like the same thing, yeah.
Wait. I also have. Hold on. Sorry about taking so long.
That is insane, Dave. That's awesome, man. Especially with him being so. Dude, that is awesome. Is that Met Stadium or what stadium is that?
No, I don't know. It's a Topps thing.
Okay.
It's a Tops. It's from Top Stadium Club.
That's really cool. That's awesome.
But Jason quoted earlier saying, I have a ton of Burrow, Herberts, and Hertz and other Tops, and he said they want to lot them together.
Mm-hmm.
See, to me, I don't know if I would lot those guys together right now. Part of me would not want to lot those up. Would want to sell them individually, because I think that overall there could be more value there. Now, again, don't get me wrong, I could be 100% wrong with that. I'm not saying that's right, but those types of guys, depending on what they are, second-year cards, third-year cards, you're saying, and other top rookies. So I'm assuming you mean you have Burrow, Herbert, and Hertz rookie cards. If you do, I would do those individually, because you could still get $2, $3, $4 for some of those cards. I think,
that's what I'm doing on those personally. Like if it's a rookie of those guys, I'm doing them individually, and even some of their second years I'm doing individually, just based on how collectible they might be. Like for example, Burrow has a second year face mask variation, which is not valuable, but like one day that might be a pretty cool card. So I think somebody might want to buy that. So like that's something I have listed individually. But also, as far as that face mask thing goes, putting together like a face mask set and listing that together could bring in a premium, or
That's
something
true.
along those lines. Like Marty does this because he rips so much. Like he'll like save all of his like say net marvels or crunch times or whatever, and then once he gets the entire set together, he sells it as a complete set for a premium, which is like kind of smart to do if you're going to be ripping like so much that you can amass like a full set or several sets. Like why not?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think there are certain players. I think in my opinion, I think the guys you lot together are those. Number one, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if I do, box of Herbert rookie and second year cards, 4,000. Holy crap.
That's insane. Mark goes through some major quantity of stuff. Like
Holy
my
smokes.
goal is to like get into like his honey hole eventually. I've gotten partially in. By the way, Mark, they George Pickens from that box. I actually got the box still right next to me of the main box that I need to film a video in. But the George Pickens I did send off to PSA, so I'll let you know what that comes back as once it's back. That one's going to the PC. But yeah, I mean, that's insane. Like even just thinking what Dave just said in comparison to like his Ronald Acuna collection, he says he has 250 unique Acuna cards. So like to put that into perspective, like I have like as far as graded LeBrons, maybe 150. He was drafted in 2003. Ronald Acuna was drafted. Well, technically, I guess his rookie was 2018. I would imagine you probably have some earlier cards from like prospects, but again, I'm not super knowledgeable when it comes to baseball. You probably know better than me, Michael, but roughly there's like a 15-year gap in between LeBron and Acuna. And the fact that he already has 250 unique ones is insanely cool. You know what I mean? Like, because I've been collecting LeBron forever and I don't have that many unique ones. So that's super cool.
Yeah, I mean, there are baseball, they seem to do a lot. They also seem to do a lot more. There are a lot more sets. When you think about basketball and just look at, if we look at Panini, yeah, I mean, yes, you have immaculate, you have those higher end ones that are, that are the super duper, oh my gosh, prices. But when you come to that couple of steps down, right, you have Prism, you have Mosaic, you don't have as many. And you look at Tops, right? So Tops, you're gonna have your Tops, then you're gonna have your Tops Chrome, then you have Stadium Club Chrome, Allen and Ginter Chrome. You know what I'm saying? Then you got Gypsy Queen, Gypsy Queen Chrome, and then you have Big League, you have and you have I mean just the amount of different Fire, and they have then they come out with this Cosmic, and now they're coming out with this other new Cosmic thing and stuff,
Yeah.
and then within those sets there's who knows how many inserts there are. I think that there was something on that came out about it was comparing Tom Brady and Trevor Lawrence, like rookie cards or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they said that there was like over 6,000 different Trevor Lawrence rookie cards or something like that. It was just some like stupid number. And Tom Brady's was like 215. You know what I'm saying? Like the numbers were just absolutely, crazy the way they are and stuff. And I think that's, part of the, part of the issue that you have. Yeah, Mark, yeah, baseball sets, variations, all-star, tops now, inserts, so that's where, hey, Powerball game.
There he is. My guy Dave's in the house. Good to see you, brother. Always a pleasure. All the way from Australia.
So that's the big difference that you have. I mean, I know, Mike collects Michael Chavis. Michael Chavis is a big PC in this house. He has been in this house before. He went to high school with my two daughters. Mike worked with him. He, did some stuff with Mike and everything. And he's a big PC. And Mike tries to put a rainbow together, I think, of just like his rookie prism cards. And I don't know why, but baseball, they just seem to go ahead and every other freaking color of the rainbow and every animal print, zebra, tiger, elephant, snake, lizard, panda bear. I mean, it just seems, it's like you're trying to do, it's like 50, 60 cards just out of that one set, of trying to get, and you can't get the one of ones because and then you have all those printing plates and one of ones and one of one regular and one of one fractor and one of one super fractor, and then it's super fractor wave and so much, it's like nuts.
It's insane, man.
I was watching, I don't know if you, I was watching If Sports. He does his top 10 cards pulls of the week.
Yeah.
He releases it on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And this week's winner was a guy did what was the LeBron? Was it immaculate?
Oh yeah, the the upper deck, exquisite.
Yeah. Well, that was the number one card this week. I don't know what it was at.
Thanks for joining us, brother. Appreciate you being here,
man. Appreciate you stopping in. These guys pull that one 9 different. Okay, that's right. I knew it was something crazy. Thanks, Mark. My numbers were
That's what I love about Mark. He just knows these facts. I guarantee you, he didn't even have to look that up. He just knows.
Yeah, I remember they were talking about some stupid numbers. So, these guys pulled, the LeBron, and it had a great patch. It looked like it was the patch looked like it was an S. So I don't know if it was the S from the Cavaliers of the jersey or if it was the S from the James. But they estimated that card to be, $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And the one just before that was a Ronaldo 1 of 1 by these guys that pulled it. It was a 1 of 1 Ronaldo. That same day, they pulled another 1 of 1 Ronaldo out of the product. So that's the crazy part. It's like, 1 of 1. Yeah, but to me, if a player has a 1 of 1, there should only be one of 1. There shouldn't be that many variations of 1 of 1s.
I agree. Completely.
Like it should be the only one of the one. Pick whatever one it is. I don't even care what card it is, but it should only be that 1 of 1. There shouldn't be 14 1 of 1s of this guy in this one product.
I completely agree. Absolutely. In regards to like the print runs and stuff, I know Dave had said something about base basically dying because of the overprinting and stuff like that. I know right now over the past month or so, maybe a little more. There's been a lot of news in like the Magic community and like the CCG world, like as far as overproduction from Wizards of the Coast and all of that stuff. I would imagine like most of the exact same stuff they're dealing with on a mass producing, I should say, level, we're probably dealing with here on the sports card side of things as well. Do you think that that's going to cause like a lot of these cards to have a lot lesser value one day, like kind of like equivalent to like a modern day junk wax? Or do you think that there's enough rarity with some of the stuff they're putting out there, like via these one of ones, or being that there maybe, like you said, 14 different one of ones of that same guy in each set? Does that kind of make that mean less, like as far as long-term value?
Yeah, well, I think it means I think it means less just from a standpoint of you know, more people. I think it means less because more people can have a one of one. Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's it's funny, but it seems as though like if you had a card that was, let's say, out of 5, right? And you were able to get all 5 of those, then you're the only one, right? Out of 7 billion people on the planet, you alone are the only one who has all 5 of these cards. Like nobody else can have another one because you got them all, right? But when 14 people or 15 people or 20 people can have a one of one of a player, I'm not saying it. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I'm ripping open a pack and I pull a one of one, of anybody, I don't care who. I don't care if it's, I don't care if it's again, pick any player you want. I'll pick a New York Met, a guy who's not that great. Let's say a Brandon Nimmo. If I go ahead and pull a one of one of Brandon Nimmo, I'm going to be happy as man, I'm going to be overjoyed and everything, but that's different, but to me, when you're looking at the higher end stuff, I think it's, I don't think it's as special as it sounds anymore. I mean, obviously you get it. Scotty Barnes from basketball, right? I mean, I think, from that standpoint, you look at all of his one of ones that you have out there. Again, it's like, I think to me, those are the type of cards where if you are fortunate and you somehow get into a, thank you for David. Thank you for stopping by.
Good night, Dave.
Yep. Have a blessed week yourself. I think, if you're, to me, again, if you're fortunate enough, unless you get into a random break and you pull Toronto and you're not really a Toronto person and you pull a low number Scotty Barnes auto, to me, when you get that card in your hand, your best bet is to sell it because the market is too volatile.
Yeah. And that's a great point that Mark and David are bringing up here as far as like potentially a junk slab era. I mean,
hell yeah.
Not only just like, say, players like me putting Sekou Demboyas in cases that never deserve to be there, or, whether or not it is like Dave's saying here, like so many LaMelo balls have been graded, you know what I mean? That it drowns out the market for it, like to the point where sometimes the cards aren't even really worth what you paid to grade them. And then the other thing is where you actually send it to be graded sometimes could make a difference as well, as far as the long-term value of that card. And the sad thing is one day there's going to be a lot of slabs out there of companies that just aren't valuable anymore, which is really sad. So I really think we're going to be coming out of, this kind of season, looking back at some of these slabs now that are in our collections, kind of like, oh man, this is like company XYZ that might have been around like in the early 2000s, late 90s or whatever.
Well, I mean, I think you're correct. I think the thing with the junk slab era, and I think Mark says it in that comment right there, is that, yes, there is going to be money to be made because you are, you know, the best way to put it is it's the the people that were grading, let's say, let's use LaMelo, let's use Zion base, let's use Ja base, right? And look, those guys, if they become superstars, completely different story. LaMelo, I don't know. I mean, is he hurt this year?
You know what? Honestly, I haven't really followed a whole lot of Charlotte basketball this year, if I'm being honest with you. I haven't heard of him like setting the league on fire this year or anything like that.
Exactly. So you look at it from this story. So they were saying he's hurt. I'm not sure. Maybe but let's say let's say he's not hurt or anything. There's a guy right there who people were slamming his NBA hoops and his NBA hoops holiday and stuff. And to Mark's point, you're going to get those nervous sellers. It's kind of like what you and I see, Anthony, when we do Amazon, right?
Yep.
It's the people that the newer people who weren't into this. They jumped in and they bought a whole bunch of LaMelos. Then they sent them into PSA, and because the card was worth a lot more, they paid a lot more. They paid a lot more for the. He's back. Last 6 games, averaging 25. Well, it's
Beautiful.
good. I didn't realize.
Thanks, I figured you probably know being in the Carolinas. Guy Thrift Feast, what is up, my man? Good to see you, brother.
On, man? But there's a guy right there. So what happened is, right, he doesn't do well, so on and so forth. People who sent their cards in, they're slabbing. What do? They want to dump them, right? We see that on the other side of the reselling, business. You get a product on Amazon, and all of a sudden, a bunch of people have that product, and there's a couple people who all of a sudden they're scared they're not going to get their money, so they lower their price just to go ahead and dump them. They get rid of them. And I think that's where Mark is saying, if you can find those people and you take those slabs and maybe you buy them for, $10, and then you hold them a little bit and then you turn around and then maybe, you sell them for 15. I mean, 50%, that's not a bad, 50%, that's not a bad margin, making fun, but I mean, there are other people who go like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't touch that. Heck, I'd do that all day long. I don't care. I mean, to me, profit is profit is profit. You can look at it however way you want. And people go, well, I rather do one item and make $50 and then do 10 items and make $5. Well, I don't care. It's still, no matter how you chop it, no matter how you slice it, no matter if they give it to you in pennies or they give you a $50 bill, it's still $50.
Absolutely. And the way I look at it, if Burbank will mess with a junk slab, then maybe there's something to them. You know what I mean? They have over 20 bargain boxes just of slabs that are like sub $20 in their store. So, there's obviously a market for people. Like, I mean, I can't even tell you how many times my mentally ill self has gone through there and bought a Dylan Windler slab off of them. It's like, I have no business buying any more Dylan Windler cards after the number of Windlers I've bought and probably lost money on, but because they have a bargain box and, oh, look, a $7 Dylan Windler.
Oh, it's a Cavalier.
You see? Yeah, exactly. I have a sickness. I can't help myself. Like, I did the same thing. I went to this place. It was called, it might have been Jimmy's or something like that. Oh yeah. There. If Dave's still here, is a Ronald Acuna shout out postcard card. Irene actually really likes these. She has a whole set of this right now. Postcards from all the different cities.
Amen, Mark. Amen, Mark. No, but
going with the Amazon analogy that you brought up, like doing that with cards, with everything being so sensitive right now. Say you do go ahead and liquidate like your LaMelos right now, like say he's injured and he's about to come back and you just want to get rid of him in case he comes back and he sucks, right? Like, not saying that he is or he does or any of those things, using that as an example. So you just want to go ahead and liquidate it. So say the LaMelo card was worth $10, you liquidated it down to $8. Now the new comp on LaMelo is $8. You know what I mean? Like, I'm using this for simple math because, again, I'm not a great mathematician, but the way that eBay's been working lately is like the last comp is the last comp. Like even if you go up to a vendor's booth and you're trying to negotiate on a card, the number one thing they're going to bring up is what is the last comp? Like what's the last thing this sold for? So sometimes even like getting a little bit better of a deal or cutting somebody like a little bit of the slack when it is on like an eBay type thing can start like a little bit of a domino effect with the card tumbling the other way as well. My guy Blaze is in the house. Good to see you, brother.
Hey, Blaze, what's going on?
Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, but what Mark says, I think, but what he's looking at is, and you mentioned it before about prospecting, it's not necessarily a lot of people, they think prospecting, it's prospecting the rookie, it's prospecting that kind of stuff. It's also prospecting the guy who is injured, whose card values have gone down, and people are getting scared, so they're trying to get out, like you said. Yes, and so Mark goes out there and Mark buys 4 or 5 of those $8 Lamellos as LaMelo, all of a sudden, oh, LaMelo's going to be out a little bit longer. Well, I'm just going to dump him. I want to get rid of him. And then Mark, he's smart enough because he understands the business. He holds on to them. Next thing you know, LaMelo comes back over the rest of the season. He averages 25 points. Hey, now I can go ahead and now they maybe they're only worth 15, but now he turned 8 into 15.
Yeah.
Or he tries and sell them for 16 and makes 100% profit. So I mean, I think that's that's where the tricky part, comes in.
Yeah. So Mark says a comp is take the last 5 sales, throw out the high and the low, average the middle 3. That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because the truth is you don't, because there are fans that are willing to pay whatever.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right? Wow, I've never seen that card before. I want that card. So it's on auction. I put, my max bid is $100.
Mm-hmm.
That card is not worth near damn $100, but that card isn't going anywhere except when it comes to my house, and it's going to go into my, into my safe or into my room. That is my card collecting room. So if some knucklehead thinks he's going to get it for 50 and everything, but I'm going to, I'm going to head and get it, get it up that I'm going to get it for 51, 52, whatever it may be. So I'm going to pay more. So to Mark's point is right. It pays to throw out the high because you don't know who that buyer was. It doesn't make sense when you see something go that high, from a standpoint.
True. And it's good to throw out the low too, just in case it's like, okay, this ended at like, 3 a.m. Clearly nobody was awake.
Well, it's 3 a.m. and they spelt the word, Panini wrong, or they spelt, the guy's first name wrong. For Ja, they put J-A-H.
Yep.
And they, or they put John, whatever, moron rather than Morant.
Yeah. That's a good point.
But the market, I mean, the truth is at the end of the day, here's the real deal. A card is only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. We could think whatever we want to think. We could think that our LeBron James, our Kobe, our Michael, our our Trout, our pick X player Lawrence Burrow, whatever it is, we could think they're worth a lot of money. But if somebody says, "Look, I'll give you $100 for it," most of the times at the end of the day, people are not going to, people are not going to buy, buy $1,000 card for $100. It just, I don't think that really happens that much anymore, in my opinion. I may be wrong, but that's
Glenn's in the house. Good to see you, brother. Swamp Picker.
Hey, Glenn.
Glad to have you here, my friend. So just going in theme that you actually just brought up, like Ja Morant, J-A-H, or just somebody misspelling something. This is a website I actually found out about several years ago. Actually, during the height of the pandemic is actually when I found out about this. But essentially, you can go on here and type in if you're looking for LeBron James, and it'll go and find misspelled eBay listings with anything that matches your search query. So it's a good way to find listings that are going to just get buried in SEO because it's misspelled or something's missing or Y or Z. Now, you're not going to always find stellar deals doing this, but this is a fantastic way to find, like, you know, especially something that's at auction that somebody just screwed up on the listing.
Well, you mentioned the guy earlier, Poku. Think about how many people, even though, you know, I hate the thing that gets me. People had the card in their hand. They had the card in their hand, and they still spell it wrong.
Yeah.
Well, you're not looking at the card as you were typing it in, but there's one right there, right? A Poku. Think about his last name, how you could screw that up.
Yeah.
That guy is a guy right there that you probably can throw in the fat fingers, and I'll bet you a bunch of them come up that's misspelled. See you later, AJ. Have a great night.
Thanks so much for being here, my friend. And I would imagine we'll probably start to wrap it up here shortly. We've been live for about an hour and a half.
We really didn't even talk about what we're going to be talking about as we go forward, because this is what happens. We're more interactive than we are anything. There's a shot we may have a topic. There's a really good chance that we'll talk for maybe 4 minutes on that topic.
Absolutely.
And then the chat is where we go to. We both, like I said earlier, both Anthony and I have done shows in the past, and that's the way it's always been. You have every intention of doing certain things, you know, with the show, but you know, it doesn't work if you guys, the audience, if you're not involved, if you're not interacting, because to just sit here and listen to two knuckleheads go ahead and talk about, you know, grown men on pieces of cardboard, you know, it just, you know, it doesn't have the right effect. But we're going to talk about a lot of other things. We are going to talk about the reselling aspect of this. It's not just you know, it's and we may grab collectibles and stuff like that and everything. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know, but one of the things that, you know, we talked about, you know, Anthony and I have, you know, talked about is, you know, how do you know, you want to navigate through the show through you guys, like I was saying a little bit, you know, the audience, you guys, you know, because that's where it's the best, and that's where all of a sudden you turn and you go, holy crap, we've been on for an hour and a half. There's no way. We just started 10 minutes ago.
And really,
you know,
I think that's the vibe we want, is we want to share what we know and what we're passionate about, but we also just like want this to be a genuine, like, hangout sesh. You know what I mean? Like, we care about you guys. You guys make this hobby even more fun. You know what I mean? We get together, we can talk about, you know, like the latest, greatest news, like what's happening in the hobby, or, you know, different shows and stuff we're going to be involved with. One thing I really want to touch on a little bit more and learn about personally, which I'm going to be sharing about on my channel, is different ways to make money with collectibles. You know, and that goes different types of models. Like, there's one model I'm very, very interested in learning more about, and that's the Burbank model. Not just the LCS model, but the e-commerce model. A lot of people don't know, like, Burbank, yes, they are like the #1 sports card shop in the entire world, but they're also one of the biggest eBay sellers in the entire world. They have a warehouse that does multiple millions of dollars on eBay every year, just selling sports cards, you know, whether it's, you know, two rows like I showed earlier, whether it's high-end stuff. They have like millions of cards that never even see the showroom of their store yet. So that's a model I'm really attracted to learning more about, because as somebody that does eBay and loves cards, if there's a way I can scale what I'm doing, because they have a whole team of people over there listing on eBay. There's a warehouse of people that pull cards, pack, ship, all those type of things. It's like a well-oiled, like, the way I look at it, it's kind of like if you were to take your card eBay business and like merge it with like Amazon FBA, it's almost kind of what they do. It's like a fulfillment center for all of their orders. you know, that type of thing I'm interested in learning more about. And for example, the show culture and different ways to appease different crowds in different territories. Like, because obviously I know if I'm sitting up here in Pittsburgh, I need to come hot and heavy with some Pittsburgh stuff. People are going to want to see Steelers, Pirates, and Penguins. There's probably going to be some people that like the Cavaliers because they're the closest basketball team. But again, I want to set up based on that demographic. And you know, I think sitting down with guys who have been vendors for years, like a Mark, or you know, somebody else that has been doing this and just learning what they know and picking up on those things that like are really better caught than taught. You know, because a lot of times you can be around other people that are doing things that you want to do and just seeing the way that they handle themselves, you know, like, you know, you might think back, okay, I remember like, you know, when Mark got to this point and this guy was trying to talk him down on the deal and he stood his ground and the guy ended up, you know, meeting Mark in the middle or whatever, you know, and little things like that, you know, that, you know, you can pick up little nuances of the way people handle their business or do X, Y, or Z, you know what I mean? And that's really what I want to learn is like these people that are very successful, you know, in the hobby and in other areas of business, whether that's e-commerce or something else, like what are they doing that makes them so successful? Because obviously consistency is always going to be a number one ingredient for success, regardless of what you're doing. But outside of the consistency, all that really stands between you and success is logistics. So what are the logistics that get you from point A to point B? And those are the things you need to learn better is logistics.
And it has, it always has been. I mean, it is going to be, you know, the access to inventory, right? Burbank is not doing, you know, millions and millions of dollars of sales on eBay, selling 1,000 cards a year. You know what I'm saying? They're not, you know what I'm saying? They're a volume seller. And why? Because they've built that reputation where people come in with these massive boxes and they're super duper smart. And I know they will pay, right? But if I remember correctly, I think you mentioned something before. They give you more in store credit than they would cash, right?
Correct. Yeah, you do get a little bit more for doing a trade with them for credit.
So when you think about it from that standpoint, what are they doing? They're giving you, so if they were going to give you $50 for that box in store credit or trade value, if you wanted the cash, they might only give you 40. So they don't take any money out of their hands. You hand them this big box of cards and they turn around and they maybe give you one or two cards that somebody else brought in who had another box or a bigger box or multiple boxes and do the same thing, right? So when you think about it from that standpoint, you know, they're going around and around, and they have the eBay side that people are buying and and pumping in and stuff.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they have the stuff. Don't get me wrong. They have the stuff that they are, selling also. You know, but they don't have a problem. I'll trade. Yeah, I'll give you this card, which I didn't pay for. I got this in a big ass box, and for the box you gave me, sure, that's a fair trade. One card for 150, 200. Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at it their way, like that's gonna fill their bargain boxes. So even if they sell like half, you know what I mean, that's probably $500. You know what I mean, just in dollar cards. You know, so like they're making out. You're basically getting something you actually want for cards that are literally just sitting in the closet. You know what I mean? Like, because how many of us have cards that we just don't give a crap about? You know what I mean? Like the Dayron Sharps of the world or the Grant Rillers or whoever. I mean, these guys might turn into something, but chances are they're probably not going to turn into something. This caliber guy. You know what I mean? The same can be said for my Dylan Windler, who I've bought way too many cards of. You know what I mean? Like these type of players, you know, can be
I mean, when you sit and you think about it, and you know, pick a sport, whatever that sport may be, okay? To me, if I look at football and I look at the guys who are like having, oh my goodness, oh my gosh, season stuff and everything, and quite honestly, when you look at it, I think, I think people expected let's use that people expected Joe Burrow to do what he's doing. I think people did expect stuff out of Herbert. Tua, but Jalen Hurts, you look at where he is now from back then, right? You don't see there's not as many of those guys as out there. So I think to your point, Anthony, going ahead and collecting a whole bunch of people and everything, more than likely, if it's not for a PC, if it is for an investment, you gotta really, you take a flyer on it, but you gotta stick more with what and the players, the players are right there for you to tell you who to collect.
Absolutely.
I mean, you watch TV, you watch videos. The players will tell you who you should be collecting and who maybe you should, stay away from. Hey, there's the guy right there.
Yep, Sekou.
Parabellum just put him in, right? But I think, from a standpoint of, the mass of cards that all of a sudden, are going to be giving to them. Like, I wonder, a place like Burbank, when Hertz did nothing those first couple years, I wonder how many of maybe their cards of his card they were given, they got in boxes.
Oh, I can imagine. Because honestly, like, I'll give a shout out to a couple local shops here in Pittsburgh that I cleaned up on Hertz with. Like, so, and as good as I did on Hertz, I did equally as bad on Jordan Love, because those two were like very readily in dollar boxes and like Kel's Sports Cards, etc., Sports Card Junction, some of like the bigger card shops here in Pittsburgh. You could get these cards all day long for $1. So literally, I'm going through Hertz, Love, Tua, just pulling out all of these quarterbacks or players I deem to be like somewhat decent. And Hertz started popping this year, so I started putting him up on eBay, and every single time I'm listing Jalen Hurts, he's selling. Like, even like second-year cards are selling pretty decent. Now, granted, I'm not making a killing, but I had one guy come through my store and buy 20 Jalen Hurts cards. Like, literally every Hurts I had at that time, he bought every single one, just because Hurts is hot. So Jason was asking, how have sales been on eBay? Is it worth paying for a store? I think it is, personally. If you have like over the set amount, it's definitely worth it, just for the fact that once you actually have a store, you can get a monthly coupon to get or not a monthly coupon, but a quarterly coupon to get free shipping supplies from eBay. The other thing is, it's cheaper. If you're going over your listings, you're not paying like the extra fee per listing. So it's a little bit cheaper to do it that way.
Well, then don't forget, Anthony. I mean, I only have a basic store.
Yeah.
But if you get you get, whatever your number of listings are, what is it, 1,000 listings, I think, in a basic store. If I remember correctly, or something along those lines.
Yeah, I believe it's 1,000.
You get 1,000 regular listings, but then there's also another category that eBay has opened up, and what they do is they give you 10,000 listings in certain categories. Trading cards is one of those categories, Jason. So for the price of if you buy for the year, which I think is like averages out to like $22 a month, I think, or $25 a month, let's say, somewhere in that range. Basic is $250 for the year. Okay, so I think basic is 250 listings. I don't know. I don't think so. I think you got 200 listings.
That might be because there's isn't there like a starter?
I think that's right. There's a starter store, and I think then there's a basic store. Like a starter store, I think is about like $7 a month. But then you have the base. I think it's like the basic store. The next one up
real quick, see if we can't figure it out.
And
I have the basic store for $21.95 a month, and I think that is the 1,000 listings. So I have the same thing as you do.
So you get 1,000 regular listings. So that means all your other stuff. So if you want to sell cassettes and CDs and sneakers and all that kind of stuff, you have that. But then you also get 10,000 listings in a number of categories. One of those categories is the sports cards category. So you can do 10,000 sports cards. You can do 10,000 of those. You know what I'm saying? So like if you went to your overview
So here's
page.
So this is kind of the breakdown of what you can get
Right.
for selling here. So yeah, like I said, I'm on the basic currently. And you can get a discount if you get it for a full year. Like if you're going to be selling on eBay and you know that it's something you're going to like take pretty serious, if you sign up for the year, it'll save you some money. It's not like substantial, but like over the year, it's worth it to save $6 a month.
If you go to your your overview page, if you want to show it, it's up to you.
You mean like where my sales are and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I mean, I basically show all of my sales anyway, so
right. And then if you scroll down, where the hell is it? Do you have it on yours where it says how your listings are going?
Yeah, I think so. That's down. You mean right here, monthly limits?
No. If you go up, it normally says like how many listings you have and how many you have left. Right there on the right there. Promotional offers. If you go down.
Okay.
So basic store subscription, you have 1,000 fixed price listings.
Okay, yeah, right here.
Gotcha. That you have, and then you have other stuff that you have others that are include. Now go up. Then you have auction, which you don't use, but then here's the right one right there. Boom. Additional fixed price ones, additional for certain categories. You have 10,000 listings. In there is sports cards. So you could list up to 10,000 of sports cards.
That's awesome.
And they would come out of here and not your regular listings.
Perfect.
So Jason, that's why. So if you're looking at getting a store and you do the $21.95, you pay that for the whole year, you're going to be able to watch Burbank's video for a card scanner. It helps you list faster. That is one of the things that I wanted to talk about in a future show about that.
Yeah. Actually, that's something I'm considering getting because like with the number of cards that I'm going to be processing for eBay, I mean, it's very tangible. Like if you look at the Fujitsu they use to be able to do thousands of cards a day, right now, like I'm literally setting down a card and then taking a picture of it, flipping it, taking a picture of it. And then that's how I'm getting like my photos for eBay. So the nice thing about the Fujitsu is it's like literally drop it front and back scanned and uploaded to a folder.
Scan,
uploaded to a folder automatically.
And now I think the newer one that Fujitsu came out with, you can actually use. Is it a top loader or a penny sleeve? You can do top loaders, right?
You can do both, yeah.
Yeah, because that's the one thing that I would be concerned about with all the shiny cards.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're putting through shiny cards, and then most of your Chrome cards also have some kind of a bend in them, no matter what. Mm-hmm. A lot of the prisms already have, they do have that little bit of bend. So when you put them in the, in the top loader, it does, straighten them out a little bit.
Hey, I'm glad you caught us too, Annie. Always
Thanks, Annie. We appreciate you coming by.
You have a good night as well. But yeah, I definitely think that scanner is a game changer too, Mark. It's on my to buy list eventually. I just haven't gotten there yet. They're over $1,000 for the new ones, from what I understand. That's why I haven't bought it yet, because it's a big investment.
But from our standpoint, I think that's one of those things where, yes, it's expensive, but if you plan on doing what you want to do, Anthony,
yeah,
that is a great investment into your business.
And I'm looking at it kind of like the Rollo. Like,
Yeah.
because I didn't want to spend $200 on a thermal printer, but now it's like I can't think of like doing eBay without a thermal printer. You know what I mean?
I
Like
know.
I used to have to do like the print it on a regular thing, cut it out, tape it on, and it's like you just plug this sucker in and just hit a button, and it's like boom, there's a label. It's like so easy. The
Mm.
flipping sports guys in the house. Good to see you,
Whoa.
brother. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for the support.
No,
Okay,
Jason, maybe you
really-
don't right now. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Good.
I was gonna say, Jason, you're right. Maybe you don't right now. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you ever planned on going ahead and and getting up to where you're having 5, 6, 7,000 cards in your, in your store to go ahead and sell, and that's what if that's what you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
time wise, it pays.
Yeah.
It pays and stuff. But see, no one. I mean, I don't care. We're going to talk about it. But here's the thing. Here is the thing that I think. I wonder if eBay is going to go to the next step and have catalogs for sports cards, to where you can go in, and when you're doing in that category, kind of like they have catalogs for certain of their electronics and everything, and or books, and automatically fills in a whole bunch of information.
Yeah.
I'm wondering why they don't have something along those lines. And then use a stock photo. You can use a front and back stock photo. If you think your card is equal to what the photo looks like, that's fine. I mean, if you want to take that chance, you go right ahead. I would still add my own photo, but you think about it. If you could go in and say, "Hey, I have," I don't know. Let's say you could sort by you could have a template listing tool that you can sort by a player's name, and you put in LeBron James, and LeBron James's cards automatically fill in, and then all you do is a little checkbox, what you want to list it for, and how many you have,
Mm-hmm.
and you hit it, and you're good to go.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That's
really awesome. I definitely think that eBay is going to do something to make it easier on people selling cards, because if you look at it, like I know a couple years ago, whenever like the content that we were producing was mainly like reselling eBay, Amazon, that type of stuff.
Mhm.
One of the conversations we would have is, what is eBay able to do to compete with Amazon? Because Amazon's become such a big global business. How is eBay going to compete with them going forward into the future? And honestly, I think the collectible space is how they do it. They just have to continue to double down, because like I have never seen more degenerate spending in my life than card collectors. You know what I mean? Like myself included. Like there's been times where it's like, what the hell am I doing spending this kind of money on cards? But it's like, it's a hobby, it's a passion, it's a sickness. You know what I mean? And I think that if eBay continues to like double down and make it easier on the collectors to get what they want, and it's not just cards, it's literally anything. You know what I mean? Like whatever people collect, it could be high-end shoes, it could be jewelry, it could be whatever. But I feel like eBay does a really good job, like with the collectibles market. Like most people know that, hey, if I'm looking for a card or a collectible or X, Y, or Z, it's probably gonna be found on eBay. You know what I mean? Like, say I found like an original Ninja Turtle from the 1980s, and I'm like, damn, I don't have his like little weapons or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to eBay and find the little weapons sold separately. You know what I mean? So like one of those places that like is already perfect for people like us that are looking for specific collectibles. So I definitely think, like you said, to your credit, like with the being able to auto-populate things, I'd be shocked if they're not going to be trying to incorporate that. One thing I do with most of my listings is, like, say if I'm looking up like this Kobe CSG9, I'm literally going to look up this exact card in a sold comp. And then typically what I do off of that is I'll click sell one like this. And typically what that'll do is it'll suck in the entire listing that the other person made. and it'll give me a copy of it that I can then go in and edit it to basically say anything I want. So if it's a really good listing, chances are the item's already sold using the information on it. It's not a terrible listing, but I will recycle a lot of what's already there on other people's listings. Now, if you're doing really rare stuff that you might not find sold comps on, something you might need to go to like a Terapeak for, or even what's that other one that you can look up sold comps on for something that's been like multiple years? Was it
something point?
Worth Point.
Worth Point.
Yeah. So so these are just some other little things you guys can do to try to find comps for things that may not sell very frequently.
Well, I tell you, so two things. And one, Flipping Ports guy, Card Dealer Pro. I've heard about that. I do want to look into that, but I'm going to tell you, there is another website, and I think it's called like sellsportscards.com or sellmysportscards.com. I don't remember the entire name of it. I signed up. I have an account on it, and I listed some cards. It's one of those ones where they like have imported the databases, the card listings, and you basically, if you want to list, I don't care, 2021 Topps Baseball Series 1, you can put that into the search bar, and all the cards come in. If you basically all you do is you put you take your stack of cards and you put them in number order, and then you just basically look at the back of the card and go, okay, card 1, card 2, and you can put in, you just hit a check mark of what card you have, then you put your price in, you go all the way through, and you hit list, and it goes. So it can be done, and it's done by, and it's a guy who owns a card shop. I'm not sure where. He went ahead and did it right now. It's it's still, they have a lot of cards listed. I don't know what sales like and everything. Obviously, he trying to draw traffic to it is the big thing, but it can be done. Somebody has done it already, and it would be nice to see if eBay could, come up with something along those lines, or actually just go write a damn check.
What do you think about eBay's live selling? Like, do you think that's going to rival Whatnot, or do you think it's just going to be kind of like a fad that like kind of comes and goes?
I think it's going to depend on, can they get can they get the big time eBay, the people that are, I think the problem you have is people don't know people on eBay. Like on Whatnot went, wait a minute, we got these social media people who people know their face. They know their voice. They maybe they don't see them, but they know their voice. They know their face. Let's bring them over here and have them bring their goods over and sell them and stuff, right? From that standpoint, those people, so there's a lot of people on who sell a crap ton of stuff on eBay who never make a video on it. They never make a what sold.
Yeah.
Or a thrifting video, or I opened up, or I bought this collection and here's what I've gotten. I think they, I think it'll be good if they can figure out a way. I don't think they could lure the people away from Whatnot, because I don't know. I don't know what they'll be able to offer different. Like, for instance, in the card community standpoint, no, I don't know. Well, yourself, right? You sell on Whatnot. As you get bigger on Whatnot, the truth of the matter is, in all honesty, what would eBay have to offer for you to come and do live selling there and not on Whatnot? And
yeah, it would have to be liquidity, like, because that's really the thing. Like, because especially in this market right now where there's a lot of different marketplaces competing for our business, and like basically not just our cards but like our product, because Whatnot and eBay, they're much bigger than just cards. Like you can literally list and sell anything. You can sell your car on eBay, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy. So like not only them, but like there's a lot of marketplaces right now competing for our stuff to basically collect the fees. So in order for me to like not sell live on Whatnot, eBay would have to promise liquidity, which in my opinion, I'd say eBay is probably the most liquid of all the marketplaces as far as like collectibles go, I should say. Especially used collectibles like cards, like that we've opened out of packs that you know have been touched by the human hand, that type of stuff.
I think the big advantage they could have is they could very well, if they kept the fees the same and figure out a way to do the shipping the way, you know, some of that stuff the way it's already done on Whatnot. But if they could keep the fees the way they are, that hey, you know, you're a top rated seller, you know, and you pay 10%, you know, selling fees. If they could do that, because right now the selling fees are bigger on Whatnot than it is on eBay.
And you know what? I did not know that. What is the what are they charging fee wise on Whatnot?
I think if you sell like $1 card on Whatnot, I think you get what 51 cents or something along those lines. I think it boils down to, you know, where eBay, you know, I don't know, you know, eBay, maybe it's the same thing. Maybe eBay could take away their per transaction fee and stuff. I mean, to me, I think that's the only way eBay would be able to compete is going to be on a fee side.
Mark officially wins coolest eBay pickup award.
You bought an ambulance?
So he says he bought an ambulance on eBay, and he was a DJ at the time, so he called it the Jambulance.
Oh my goodness gracious, Mark!
It's amazing.
Winner, chicken dinner, right there.
Yeah.
So so like I'm saying, like that's the only thing that I want. That, you know, that's the only thing that gets me is if eBay is going to do it. After the stamp.
That's true. I mean, if you're giving free shipping.
If you're doing free shipping, yeah. I mean, you know, I charge 99. I use standard envelope. I charge 99 cents for my shipping. If I sell a card for $1, they pay $1.99 after fees, and I pay 57 cents for shipping. You know, I'm at, you know, whatever. I'm at, you know, I mean, I don't price. I mean, I guess it depends on what you figure the price of the card costs. To me, you know, if I buy a blaster for $25 and I get 40 cards out of it, you know, okay, Mike, you know, whatever it may be. So, yeah, I mean, it's a volume thing, but you know, the guys like us, Whatnot is a massive. We need massive volume.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
We need a lot of people in, right? Because the truth of the matter is think about it. If you're from a reseller perspective, you know, a lot of you guys might not know it, but let's pick a big time reseller that a lot of people might know. Rally Roots, right?
That's good to know. There's also a 30-second. Yeah, I do know Rally Roots. A 30 cent transaction fee as well. I didn't realize there was a 30-cent transaction fee on top of that.
Yes, there is.
That's good to know.
So let's take Rally Roots, for instance.
Yeah.
You and I could have you could list, you know, an item. They could list an item. More than likely, they're going to sell theirs for more because the people are going to be number one. Oh, I'm buying from Rally Roots. I can say I bought this from them and everything, right? So I think that's the thing. You know, it's hard to say how much you could truly make because they're looking at that following. It's that following piece. Now, could you have more eyes on it when eBay goes to the live selling, because, you know, you have a larger market? You're not, I mean, think about it, you know, if you're already a buyer on eBay and all of a sudden now you hear about, hey, live auctions on eBay, you're already gonna attract some people there, right? Because there are a lot. There are people who go, man. Well, hell, I don't have to shop on Whatnot really that much anymore because I already do a bunch on eBay. I'd rather just go to one place rather than have to go to 2 or 3 different websites. There are people who are like that too.
Yeah.
I hope I look forward to it. I want to see really what it becomes.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool if, like, once they fully get this up and running, if you can incorporate the listings you already have and somehow, have them be presented. I haven't even tried live selling on eBay yet. I'm just using Whatnot as like a reference, like where you list your stuff on Whatnot, you have your little menu on the side where you can go and tap, okay, I'm going to put this card for sale now, or we're going to do a break on this or a giveaway on that. You know what I mean? You can just kind of tap it. It brings up the information for the people. I wish there was something you could do, like say you have 1,000 cards listed on eBay. All of a sudden you have access to those 1,000 cards anytime you go live. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you don't have to actually have the physical card with you or whatever. It's just, you already have them or whatever. That'd be cool if there was some kind of way to do that.
Yeah, I
that too.
I think you're right.
Says it'd probably be for power sellers and influencers, which would make sense. You know what I mean? Because they probably want to use it to grow their platform as well, which is kind of, if we're being real, that's what Whatnot's doing by paying the high-end influencer to come in there and attract their audience. They're basically, it's smart marketing. You're basically saying, okay, rather than paying to put out a newspaper ad, a billboard, a commercial XYZ, I'm just going to go get this guy that has a couple 100,000 followers and bring him and his following to our platform and now absorb that following as well.
They did that with what? Pac-Man, right?
No, Pac-Man is not with Whatnot. I'm pretty sure Card Collector 2 is on there. Sasha T. I think Pac-Man was on Whatnot back in the day, but I don't believe he is anymore.
Okay. But you're right. It's those guys those people that have a bigger market and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They gave them money to spend.
Yeah, and they still do. Like you'll see a lot of these videos spent like $25,000 a card show or spent $100,000 a card show. Whatnot like will target some of the bigger shows, and then they'll send out like Card Collector 2 or one of like the bigger name influencers, and they'll be like, here, drop like $50,000, make a video about it, and then sell it on your Whatnot page.
Right.
So like again, it just draws more people to it. It brings in like more attractive cards for people to be buying. Personally, I think it's a smart way to market. You know what I mean? Like just looking at it from like a customer acquisition standpoint, like they're probably paying less to like really ball out for some of these influencers than they would be to like actually put out all of the like advertising to amass the same amount of following. In my opinion, at least from a marketing standpoint.
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct. Hey, Brian.
What's up, Brian? Good to see you, brother. Appreciate you being here. Do the $2.25 minimum free ship, and it's just over $1. I have been tinkering with like just $1 plus ship cards in my store, but that's only because I'm trying to drive multi-quantity orders. So essentially, what I did was I took like a stack of like just base Luka Doncic or Giannis or just like any superstar players, like insert name here, and I threw up a bunch, like a stack of their stuff, like super cheap. So that way, like, maybe a Luka collector rolls through, he'll grab like 3 or 4 Luka, and then he'll look around, see what else I have, like typically a lot of these like cheap cards, like sometimes if I see it's card selling for like $1 at auction or something like that, I might just put it at 99 cents and let an auction roll. And then typically I find auction buyers will sometimes click on the store and see what else you have and kind of do like a little bundle deal. So I have been able to get like a few extra like little trickle sales here and there, and nothing substantial, but if somebody's going to order a $1 or $2 card and then the order ends up being 4 or 5 cards, and the guy might be spending $10 or $12, it's not a terrible sell, especially for like little cheap cards I don't care about. But again, whenever it does sell just that one card for that $1, then you basically are working for pennies. So that is a good even give and take. And honestly, probably something I probably need to track a little bit closer. Like, is it actually like worth the money I'm spending to get these cards either listed by the guy that's helping me with some listing, or spending the time myself to get it listed. As far as eBay goes, though, this past like couple of weeks, just with like the move and the holidays, I have been ramping it down a little bit, just because I will be going to back to LA for a week. So I just want to make sure I'm not like super swamped whenever I get back.
Yeah, and I think well, I mean, I guess it depends on what your process is. And what you have, how you acquired, your cards, let's say. Because the truth of the matter is, if you go and you buy, a massive collection, and it winds up being where at the end of the day, you maybe have a penny or less than a penny invested in a card. I mean, yes, I understand about, the time and the effort and all that kind of stuff. And it's true. It doesn't take any less time or any more time to list a $5 card than a dollar card. But the truth of it, like you saying though, is that those lower end cards a lot of time is really more, like what we call, and when I worked in retail, real, brick and mortar retail, it's kind of like what we call a lost leader. You sell that to bring them in to come back for repeat sales, or to buy more when they are there and at least look through. Does it happen all the time? No, but it does happen, and that's just that's the way it is and everything. I mean, me personally, Brian, I never sort by free shipping. I always sort by the lowest price, because to me, $5 free shipping, or $4 and $1 shipping, $5, it doesn't really make a difference to me. I usually just sort by the lowest price.
Yeah, I do the same. If I'm buying it now, lowest price plus shipping. Or if it's like something I'm looking to snipe something, it's always ending soonest, and like whatever player or type of thing I'm looking for. So yeah, definitely.
So
yeah, I definitely agree, Mark. He says it's all about the information that we can get out there, and the beautiful thing is iron sharpens iron. So we're going to learn from you guys. You guys are going to learn from us, and we're all going to get better for it. There's a lot of good information out there, but the big thing is you always want to make sure you do your research yourself, because it's really easy to get burned in this industry. Unfortunately, anywhere there's an opportunity to make money, there's always going to be some tricksters out there trying to take money. So it's always a good idea to make sure you do your own research as well.
Yeah, and I think, Anthony, you look at, we've both done shows in the past, and both of them really were the same type of shows where it says, hey, we're probably more of an open book than a lot of other people are going to be. I mean, we're talking sports cards here and stuff like that. Look, if we were talking, hey, strictly, Amazon stuff, and that's where we made our lives off on Amazon and everything. Yeah, you know what? We're probably not going to give you the product that we're spending, $10 on, and we're selling it for $100 on Amazon. Probably not. But you know what? If I'm buying if I'm buying Justin Jefferson rookies, okay, yes, and definitely you have to buy Will Grier, because he is definitely a better investment than Kyler Murray. And just make sure there's no hanky panky. That's the other term that's been going around a lot on videos. Hanky panky.
I have heard this. So Dave asked, which theme park am I going to this time? I'm actually going to Disney. I think on the 5th, right? We're going to Disney. So we're going to Disney. We're going to do like a whole day there. We're doing California Adventure. I've never been there before. They have the Avengers campus. And then we're going to do Disneyland as well. And then we're also getting well, we have season pass to go to Universal, so we're going to just go there while we're out there as well.
And
Jordan says, can't get people in my stream since I really only sell on eBay and at card shows. Yeah, it's difficult sometimes, when you're first getting started. One thing I did early on was I basically just gave out deals that were like stupid for you not to want to buy off of me. Because we actually started like you can probably look back through the channel, like we had an auction we did every week on YouTube. And at first I literally just started off losing my butt every week. But like after a while, it was like, okay, now there's people here like actually paying like somewhat close to what the cards are worth. Like they're still getting a good deal, cheaper than eBay, but it's all about like what your goal is with it. For me, it was like, hey, I just want to move a bunch of crap, like not crap, but like cards that I don't care that much about. I just want to get rid of them and give people good deals. But if you're looking for top dollar, again, like you might want to stick to like the eBays of the world, or somebody that'll actually bring you like the top traffic. Because one thing I have done just trying a lot of different marketplaces is list my cards in different places, and I just have found like some places you list your cards, they just sit and there's not very much movement.
Well, Joe, when you say your streams on Whatnot, from that standpoint, so that with the standard track, you mean with the standard envelope?
Yeah, so I've not had too many problems with standard envelope. There's probably been 2 or 3 packages the entire time it's been out that I've like lost and been like somewhat questionable. But I seem to have decent luck with it. Most of the stuff I sell is probably like under $20. So a lot of the stuff, like if I send out like maybe 10 orders in a day, I'd say 7 of them are probably standard envelope. And I don't have too much of a problem with it. I tend to find a lot of people will pounce on that as opposed to the other type of shipping, just for the discount and shipping.
So I only started listing cards probably about 6 months ago. And I don't have that many sales. I don't know. I don't know from a number perspective, quantity wise, but I have only had one where I had a customer say that they didn't get their card.
Yeah,
from that standpoint. So Jay, so from a standpoint of Julian, you not getting people in your streams, you may have to do some videos, maybe do some videos from at the card show and just throw those up live on a YouTube channel and start to get some people to know who you are and stuff. And then once you get from there, then you can, you can, promote your Whatnot that way. And then what I've seen some other people do is they go ahead and they post a video on YouTube about the Whatnot. So they kind of film themselves when they're doing the Whatnot and gathering the cards together and whatever they're going to sell, and then actually part of the Whatnot stream, and they put that into a video. So maybe those types of things can help you bring some eyes and some people, into your streams.
Absolutely. The big thing though is in the beginning for me is just building that, like loyal, like customer base, like people that'll actually, continually buy cards off of you. And the thing is, if you know your base too, like once you start having like a few guys that are just regulars in your auctions or the buying cards off you, make sure when you're sourcing stuff that they're going to like too. You know what I mean? Because like if you're just sourcing cards that like, oh man, I love, like player X, Y, or Z, and you're just buying all of his cards, you love them, but the key is buying the cards that other people are going to want to buy. So, and I'm sure you're probably doing that in spades, but for me, like that's the number one thing is just making sure I have the players that people ask for when it comes to building some kind of a thing outside of eBay or outside of a show is just making sure that there's a reason for people to want to come to me that differentiates me from Joe Blow, because everybody and their mom is trying to sell you cards nowadays, unfortunately.
But I think to your part, you're right from a standpoint of in the beginning, you have to be able to you don't bring number one, you don't bring your big dollar cards.
Correct. Yeah, because you'll just lose your butt on those. Unless you're willing to lose your butt.
Yeah.
But I personally, like anything that's like you don't want to take L on, I wouldn't even really mess with in the beginning. In the beginning, deal with all of the stuff you're comfortable just like liquidating, bargain basement pricing. Because I mean, that's probably what it's going to take. You'll probably have to do a couple giveaways here and there. I know that's how people grow their whatnot followings is through giveaways. They'll have this thing where you actually have to like click follow or something like that to be entered in the giveaway. Yes. So giveaways work pretty well. And honestly, like I've found just dealing with people openly, honestly, showing them respect, appreciating them as a customer goes a long way. You know what I mean? Like every single time I go the extra mile for somebody, like it usually pays off, you know, in either like a positive feedback or a repeat buy or, you know, whatever. Another thing I like to do is also send out coupons on eBay as well. And that's something that you could do. Like, for example, if you have your own auction and you're selling stuff, you can even send out coupon codes to people if you have their contact information. Like, hey, if you're going to come buy cards off of me, you get 10% off Tuesday or something, you know, like whatever you want it to be. You can come up with your own little promotions that incentivize people to do the things you want them to do, which is basically what any company does. Is they just find out, like they have a goal of what they want the consumer to do, and then they just find a reverse engineer how to make them do that thing.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think I think that's a great thing, you know, and like I said, you know, and if you want to, you know, I don't know, maybe you have, you know, I don't know, 5 cards of the same player, you know, and then maybe what you do is you know, they're you know, $5, $6 cards. Maybe you take one of those and you bring those and you start that auction at $1 and you see where it goes and everything, and people be like, holy cow, wow, I got this card. It's normally $5 or $6. I only got it for $2. And I think, you know, then because the truth of the matter is, you know, you don't want somebody just coming in to your stream once. You want them coming back and coming back and coming back. Like Anthony said, wow, Anthony does a great thing. His, you know, it's not just, you know, I mean, yes, it's fun, but we get through cards, you know, because that's the one, you know, like there are some people, they do auctions and they're like, you know, 1-minute auction. It's like, you got to be crazy. That's like a lifetime when you're sitting there wondering what the hell is going on here, you know, with the auction. You're like, oh my gosh, 45 more seconds. Well, there's no sense in me bidding right now. 30, you know, and then you have everybody that's you know, trying to get their bid in at the end. And you're like, I got it. Oh no, because you didn't do sudden death. You did somebody places a bid. The time goes back up some more, you know, and stuff like that, you know. Bookmarking, like, yep, that's another big one. You had 4 out of 60.
One thing I would do, Jason, and whenever I was having my issues, the main thing I noticed is the person that was taking them at the post office wasn't scanning them. So once I asked them, like, hey, can you just get a quick scan on this for me? Like, it eliminated the entire problem for me. So I would imagine if you're having that kind of an issue, it might just be like, hey, maybe it didn't get scanned. They might have dropped it behind something. Like, all of those things are possible. I've had a standard envelope, like one of the ones I had an issue with, literally get sent back to me after 2 months. And it was just like, you know, like no clue of what happened. It was like dropped off at the post office, and from there we had like no tracking from there. But then like 2 months later, it randomly showed up back at my house.
And here's something else. Now I know, you know, you have a big family. You got 4 kids and everything. So I know, you know, or maybe, well, I don't know, maybe that might have been that might have been the flipping sports guy. But the other thing you have is if let's say if the line is long and you don't want to stay and you only have 2 or 3, if your post office has one of those kiosks out in the lobby. You can actually use those to scan your packages. You just have to go and find. I forgot what it is. I think I did an IG video of it. I should throw it up on. I think I should throw it up. But you can go there. I think you do like more options or more something off of the main screen. You click on that, and then it says like scan packages, and you scan the first one, and then it asks you like, are you done or do you have more? And you can do, a couple of them. And then when you say you're done, I believe you put your email address in, and it will email you, kind of like a USPS to get an email from them saying, hey, I went ahead and, scanned these products.
Nice. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good tip, because I know like people that have had issues, like a lot of it is just based on that scan not taking place. So being that you can do it yourself, if you have access to that kiosk, is huge.
They can't scan them at the post office, only at distribution centers, I found out. And I did not know that.
Because the person at my post office actually will scan it for me. Whether it actually does something or they just do it to like make me shut up, I don't know.
Hey,
but like, they
if this
actually
guy hears a beep, he'll be okay. Beep, 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 beep. Oh, he's good.
Literally, it could be a fake beep. Now, I wouldn't know the difference. I'd be like, cool, I'm in and I'm out. You know what I mean? Like, so honestly, if that's the case, that would be my luck, that they would just be like, yeah, okay, here you go, buddy. And give me a little like courtesy scan. Little pity scan. So the standard envelope barcode is like a business type mail type one. The scans are only at main centers when it runs through the machine. Interesting.
You don't scan standards though.
That would make sense though. Like as they're being fed through to automatically get the scan. That makes a lot of sense, because I've noticed that when I don't ask them to scan the simple envelope, they will just take it and put it into like a separate thing with all the stamped mail. I don't know if anybody else has experienced that before, but like I actually, at my post office, it's super slow all the time. The one I go to, like there's one on either side of my house. One is like super packed all the time. The other is super slow all the time. So I go to the super slow one, and I like specifically ask them like, hey, scan this for me. And they typically will. Take your card to Giant Eagle and hear that beep. Exactly. That's what I need to hear, Mark. I'm waiting for my Advantage card to go off. But you know what? That beep gives me peace of mind. So I mean, I don't know. So I guess now I'm gonna have to actually do a little investigating next time I hear that beep, and actually look at the screen to make sure something's happening.
I know. Damn it.
Oh, but wow. I can totally see somebody doing that. Like, yeah, man, here you go, boom, and just not really doing it. That's awesome, man. You get instant tracking on your app. That's typically the way it is, like minus the simple envelope or whatever. But yeah, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to like actually, maybe when the supervisor lady's there, I'll actually ask her like, hey, are you guys actually doing this, or is this person just like pulling my crank? But yeah, guys, we've been live for about 2.5 hours. We're going to start to wrap this up here. I mean, honestly, I've just been having a really good time talking with you guys tonight, and everything like that. Are all the scans on the receipt? You know, that's something I actually haven't checked. I honestly, normally I don't even take the receipt. Normally, if it's scanned, I'm just like, whatever. If I'm being honest with you. And you cracking any WWE Chronicles? Probably. If I can get a box cheap enough, I'll probably get some. I'm not the hugest Chronicles fan, just because a lot of it's like really low end. But by the same point, you get a lot of really good cards out of there. And I would imagine there's probably going to be some guaranteed autos since it's Chronicles.
Well, I will, because I love Chronicles.
Hey, likewise, Dave. And honestly, man, one of my goals is to come over to Australia and hang out with you, brother. So
yeah,
thanks, definitely Dave. Want to make that happen here at some point.
No, but I'll begin. I like Chronicles. I like Chronicles in all sports. You know, I know, and I don't. To me, you know, I don't get it for value. I get it because I just like. You know, I mean, I just like it. I mean, there may be a little bit of value, But I just like the idea of seeing the different cards and stuff like that, you know. So when you open up a pack, you have those whatever 17 different options that are available. And for me personally, I like that.
Hey, Dave, I appreciate that, brother. So I got a bed waiting for him there and waiting for me in Australia. I appreciate that, man. And same for you if you're ever in the States. I mean, if you feel like freezing, it's nice and cold here in Pittsburgh this time of year.
Thank you very much, Mark. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you, Mark.
Dave, you're right. I love the. I still have a couple of Chronicles NASCAR to open.
Yep. And that's a good point here. That Chronicles is basically for the collector, not the seller. I've made some money on Chronicles, but that's basically just because like I've bargain boxed so many like of the Jalen Hurts, Tua's, Burrows, like all of those type of players, and just sold them over and over and over again. And back when you actually could send them in and flip them graded for considerably more. You know, I did all right with Chronicles. But yeah, I mean, as far as like major value, it's really not there, especially in like today's market.
But the football ones are, because, you know, you figure you open up a Chronicles, you know, like let's take the last class and everything, right? You're getting Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance. Well, we ain't going to talk about the guy who got drafted by the Green Crew. But you know, you get Fields, you get Mac Jones. So I mean, you know, you can get some quarterbacks out there, and yeah, again, they're not going to be $15, $20 cards, but maybe they are $3, $4, $5.
Yeah, adds up too, especially with Chronicles being so heavy with superstars and rookies. You can almost guarantee yourself, you know, like if you're going to pull a LaMelo, you're going to pull like a couple LaMelos or LaMelo and an Ant-Man.
Yeah,
I mean? Like just like that type of pull rate. You know,
after you keep what you want, you should be able to at least sell the rest to pay for the box.
Yeah, seems about right. Especially if you're going to bargain box it. Like that's one thing. Like I'm learning more and more from Mark is just those $1, $3, and $5 boxes can generate so much money that you don't even think about.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. But guys, I definitely appreciate you all being here. We are going to continue this next Wednesday over on Huddle Card Collection. So make sure you guys subscribe over there if you haven't. This is going to become a weekly show. So make sure you guys come back next week and the following week. Next week on Michael's channel, we are going to be giving away one of these 3 graded cards. We're going to be doing another one the following week on my channel. And then we're giving away a 3rd one on Facebook as well. So make sure you guys stay tuned because all 3 of these are getting given away here in the next week and a half or so. So again, we appreciate all the support. Thanks so much for coming out for this first show. And any ideas or anything you guys have, you know, for topics or anything you want to hear about, leave it in the comment section because we will go through and read that and, you know, try to be better for next week. You know, that's the goal. Every time we step out here, we want to be better and present a better product for you guys.
Right back at you, Mark.
Good night, my friend. I appreciate you. And guys, if you haven't already, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button because I'm planning a really big giveaway for when we hit 4,000 subscribers. I'm going to basically give away a bunch of slabs to one person as like a big grand prize just because I want to. So once we get there, that's happening. So hopefully that'll be going down soon. But again, guys, we appreciate you, and we will see you next week over on Huddle Card Collection.
That's right.
From the city